Okay. Okay. Mr. Warden here in the workshop, taking a look at some items. Got 4 items here on the bench that we're going to save for parts. Now, this video is entirely dedicated to the Save It for Parts YouTube channel, because I've been looking at his channel name and I've been mulling it over in my mind about what does that mean? What does it mean to save something for parts? So I've got 4 items here that we're going to save for parts. And I'm going to talk about what we're looking for and how we can extract them and what they're for and what we can use them for and things like that. So let's begin with the pair of pants. Let's move some of this out of the way. Okay, this is a pair of pants. This is a wore out pair of pants that is stained, and I don't believe there's a button. There is a button, but they are stained and they are just in a lot of ways wore out. They're wholly, actually. There's holes in them and stains all over them, and so we're going to remove the elements that we want to save, and we are going to cut the rest up for rags. So that's the first step in saving stuff for parts. Sometimes you just have to let it go. Sometimes you just have to let things go. Can we save this? Can we save this zipper? Well, perhaps. Well, perhaps not. It's pretty much in there. Well, let's begin cutting this up for rags. Oh yeah. So I guess we could have technically used these as a pair of shorts. That would have been a good use of them, but that's okay. Let's continue to cut these up. Alright, there's one rag. Well, maybe, yeah, there's one rag. And I'll probably trash the rest of that. Okay, great, lovely. Now, we also have 8 additional pairs of pants that we're going to take to Goodwill because they will properly recycle them into textile recycling. Yeah. Us cutting that up is for our rag purposes, but we only need so many rags. So the rest of that is going to go to proper textile recycling. The next item is this. This is a CD player / alarm clock. And this has some parts in it that we want. Presumably I'm looking for any kind of motors. I'm looking for servos. I'm looking for LEDs, maybe buttons, things like that. So we are going to begin by figuring out how to take this apart. I have my I don't plan on having to put this back together, so we will just put things in our little bowl here. And we're going to save all these screws. All these screws just live here in this little bowl here, in this little magnetic cup. And if we happen to need a screw, a small screw, we can always go to the cup and say, oh, there's a screw I need, or there's a washer I need, or there's something I need. And then of course we can always go to our bins over here and find a screw as well. But for right now we're just saving the screws for parts. Oh yes, very nice. Lots of good stuff in here. So we have 2 speakers. We can save those. Oh, need a smaller screwdriver. We'll continue to save the screws, because why not? As far as my expertise is concerned. Again, if you're just joining us here for the first time, my name is Mr. Worden. I teach engineering and manufacturing for a living. I teach people how to make stuff, how to fix things, and consider myself a layman's engineer of sorts. I like to build stuff and fix things myself. We've got a lovely... Oh, this is terrible. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, never mind. Never mind, we're good. We're good. I think we're okay. There we go. There's a speaker. A very nice speaker with a nice little connector on the end. And there's something that indicates to me, there's something that would indicate to me that these don't work. I see a capacitor that looks like it's burst open over here on the main board. But welcome to the program. Okay, so we're a little stuck right here. Let's take some of these other boards out so we can actually get to what we're looking at. This other speaker is not going to come out so easily. And this, the rest of this really has no purpose. This is what we would call a greebly. This is a pretty large greebly. But a greebly is something that is a plastic or metal, or it's a shape of some sort that has no purpose other than being the shape that it is. We can use greeblies for added detail on model making, which is where the term came from. But otherwise, this is probably going to go in the trash because I have no use for it right now. Okay. Let's get a look at this other speaker. Ah. There we go. There's another speaker. What else do we have here? We have a USB drive, a USB port that looks like it's just power. We have some little power board that we can save both of those. Those are good parts for something. We'll imagine what they're for in the future, but they'll go in the parts bin. They'll go in the electronic parts bin. And it was nice of them to just come out like that. That was pretty nice. Now I know that there has to be a DC motor, and I see it right here. Well, there's a little servo in here. Oops. Something in there. Little antenna, or a little cord for an antenna. Okay, there's our motor. There's our motor in there. So let's get this board out of here. Oh yes, it's either glue or capacitor gunk. I can't imagine it'd be glue, so that's, you know. Here's our motor. Right here. Just a DC motor. Just has two inputs, positive and negative. By putting a voltage across it, you can get it to spin. Oh. This is a little crank pulley mechanism that's used for shutting the door and opening the door, I imagine. This is a lot of motor for that, but that's fine. I don't think we're going to need the tooth. Well, we'll save the tooth gear. We'll save the gears in the gear stuff. We'll separate everything and keep it all separate. And if we need to put it back together, we can put it back together. There's a belt dressing compound fluid on here. It's making things a little sticky, which I don't like, but that's okay. So we'll save that. Here's our DC motor that we can cut apart. It's attached to this connector that we don't need. There's a DC motor. We'll put that in our list of parts. Let's see. What else do we have here? We have this whole optical drive mechanism that is used for reading CDs. And this, some kind of servo. Let's take this apart just so we can see. I don't know if we're going to find any more components that we want, but we can at least save the screws and we can at least take a look and see what kind of servo we're looking at here. I don't plan on needing this ribbon cable, so I'm tempted to cut it. I see our optical drive. I see some kind of cam or some kind of wheel. I see some toothed gears. Maybe these are the servos. Let's take these out. Let's see what these are looking at. So it's a little bit hard, but there's two round components right here. Hopefully you can see that. I think those are the servos, so let's take those apart as well. Okay, we've got two springs. Those are good. Put those in the springs container. Here's another greebly. As you can see, it has no purpose other than being the shape that it is. Put that in the greeblies pile. Let's see here. So here's our optical drive mechanism. This is where the optical drive reads the CD. Here's our two servos. Here's our two servos. We're trying to get those apart. They're soldered in place, but they must come out from the top as well. There are some clips that are holding this whole mechanism in place. There we go. So there's some more gears. Here's our two servos, and we can just desolder them when we're ready. These are in a much more usable state. We can desolder them when we're prepared for that. I'll put those in the motors pile. This optical sensor, or this optical drive, I'm not sure I see a use for it. This circuit board, ton of resistors on here. Oh, that capacitor looks like it's leaked as well. Okay, so this is trash. Put that in the trash pile. Let's see. Ah, there are many switches. There are many buttons. Let us investigate further just while we're in here. Since we're in here, we might as well. This also allow us to get the rest of these screws out. Save them. So again, the point of this video is, what does it mean to save something for parts? What does that mean? Well, it means this. It means finding the usable parts and sorting them so that you can find them in the future. Sorting them is key. Some people may disagree with me on this, but sorting the pieces that you find is key. You must be able to find them later. If you cannot find them later, you do not really have them. Oh, here's a nice little LCD screen that we might be able to use. I'll have it soldered in place. I'm tempted to just save this board the way it is. Put that in the trash pile. Put this in the trash pile. So we've got a board here with many switches and an LCD screen. We'll save that. Let's take the rest of these screws out while we're here. The last piece of this puzzle, though, not only do we have to be able to find what we find, we have to be able to find what we find later, we have to be able to recover what we find. We must then have the courage to throw the rest away. We must have the courage to bequeath the rest to the dump, especially if we don't have room for it, which I don't have room here. I do not have room for all the stuff I would like to save. Here's a greebly. Here's a greebly. And the rest of this looks like trash to me. There's some screws, more screws in here, but they're not the same kind of screws. Alright, very nice. Put this over here. Optical drive, we'll save the optical drive for now because I'm not sure what else to do with it. Set our tools aside. Trash. And trash over there as well. Alright, next item up for dismantling is this. This is a rechargeable battery 5-hour charger. This is from the 90s. They make much better battery chargers now. And so there's no need to keep this. It's only for use for NiCad batteries, nickel cadmium batteries. And it does not have the power cable, and there are some NiCad batteries in here that are going to go into the electronics recycling. We've got some, should be a transformer in here. There should be some screws, obviously. Let's take a look. And I have a much faster battery charger. 5 hours was the best they could do back then, I suppose. Okay, there's a Greebly. Put that in the Greebly's pile. We have some springs inside. That's handy. Some extension springs. No transformer. Why was I thinking there would be a transformer? How does this work? I guess the transformer would be attached to the power cable. So there's not much in here that we can actually salvage, but we'll try to save the springs. Put that in the springs pile. Put that in the springs pile. Put that in the springs pile. Look at these chunks of metal here. These little brackets. I don't know if these would be useful for anything, but I'm tempted to. They look like they're stainless. Some metal Greeblies. Stainless steel Greeblies. You never know. Oh, there's some LEDs in here we can pull out. Can we? Yes and no. They're pretty short. There's not a lot we can get out of here. This looks hand assembled by, where is this made? We won't bother saving the LEDs. They're too short to be used, and we have other LEDs. So that's probably all we can get out of that. Again, somebody who knows more than I do about this, engineering, would be able to know more. But my powers are what I can save is commensurate with my powers, unfortunately. Okay, let's put these someplace else. Okay, the last item up for consideration are these. These are some Rock Band drums, and these should have some piezoelectric sensors. Piezoelectric sensors means that they are actuated by force. They're actuated by pressure. And so if we put pressure on the pad, it creates a signal, and that signal goes to the game, and that says, hey, I hit the drums. Whoops. There's all of our buttons. Just fell out. Here's our Xbox buttons. Alright, how does this come out of here? This is for the sticks. What do I have in the big screwdriver department here? Here we go. There's our piezoelectric sensor right there. And a spring. Put that in the springs pile. There's a greebly. There's our piezoelectric sensor. 2 wires. Like that. And now we need to get the rest. So my question becomes, what are the rest of these things here for? I guess those are just for assembly. Okay. Oh, there's our A button, or our Xbox button. Put the springs in the springs pile. Greebly. Piezoelectric sensor. And the rest of this can go in the trash. I don't see anything else. I don't see anything else. USB cable can be used for something. Put that in the trash. Buttons in the trash. Do not throw away batteries. Anyway, I hope this video was interesting, and everybody have a good day. Let's take a look at our haul. Let's take a look and see what we got. Okay, we've got a USB cable, some greeblies, a lot of screws, some metal pieces, piezoelectric sensors, motors and springs, some gears, LCD screen, some switches, and some speakers, and an optical sensor, or an optical drive. Alright, everybody have a good day.